Atlanta's best R&B and throwbacks. Okay, you folks out there who are married, you know, sometimes y'all just look at each other and go, how did I get into this mess? So how do you recapture that loving feeling? This is my favorite show, and if you've been with me for the last 3 years, I do this show every year because I think it's so important. It's the Heart of Marriage Retreat, and it's coming up September 9th through 11th at the Atlanta Marriott Evergreen at Stone Mountain. And Mel Turner is back this year along with his wife, Renee. You finally brought the good stuff.
That's right. That's right. I'm going to defer to her. Yeah. We're going to find out for real this year.
Oh, and then we have friends Angelique and Max Anderson. They're going to talk about how they have been to the retreat twice and why it's important to them in their marriage. So, Mel,
yes.
I call this a tune-up. It's much more than that. You talk about strengthening the communication between man and wife because communication is usually the biggest problem.
Right. And I think that's a great analogy that you use with regard to tune-up because even if you're in a good space in your marriage, there are always things you can learn. And conversation is so key in learning to talk about feelings, issues. And our, Renee's and my seminar is going to be on difficult conversations.
Oh, Renee.
Yes.
So what are some of the difficult conversations that we as married people don't like to have?
Well, I think a lot of times it's being honest with your spouse about what you need. You know, that we have different needs in order to feel fulfilled, in order to feel loved, and we don't want to hurt our spouse's feelings if they're not meeting our needs, and so often we just try to put that on the shelf. But the reality is if you don't get it addressed, if you don't get what you need, then you're not going to be happy and you're going to have further breakdown. The reality is sexual topics are another difficult conversation for couples to have. And just sometimes when you feel like we're not on the same page in terms of our goals, our life, you know, what we want to accomplish. So those are some things that we've had to work out as we've gone through 33 years of marriage.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Mel, when it comes to men and women and about the things that matter most that we will not talk about, I find with men oftentimes y'all just close up. Would you like to talk to this? Honey, tell me what's going on. It's okay.
That's true. And as much as you may think that's a stereotype, no, that's true. Men, that strong silent type, I don't know where that came from. But it's a lot like the book that talks about women are like spaghetti, men are like waffles. Men tend to be in their boxes, and we do a box at a time. And we just don't talk. And when it comes to talking about our feelings, that's a learned behavior. Because men tend not to be those social creatures. You can tell that men don't go to the bathroom together. Women go to the bathroom, girls go to the bathroom. Okay, let's go.
That's true.
Guys look at each other like, no, man, I ain't going to the bathroom with you. So, but it's a social thing that women have more of a tendency, just because of how they're wired, to talk about how they feel, what's going on with them. Men, unfortunately, because of folkways, mores, and traditions, a lot of times will see that as a weakness. If I talk about how I feel, if I talk about I'm angry, if I talk about I'm sad, if I talk about I'm afraid. And that's what the Heart of Marriage retreat does. It gets men out of their comfort zone and teach them, we work hard to teach them how to be comfortable with the discomfort of sharing their feelings.
So since I've never been, and I'm hoping when you all get to go, are the men taken away, Max, and y'all just kind of talk together about stuff that you can't say or won't say in front of your wife?
Yes, we do have a session where all the men get together, and then there is a session specifically geared for men where they're going to be talking about issues that, you know, we can really let our hair down and really reveal some of the things that we feel we can't possibly talk about, I guess, in front of our spouses, or just so yeah, definitely there is a session in which we do speak about men issues.
So what are the kinds of things, if you're willing to share, that men talk about that we as women are going, that's not an issue?
One of the issues is vulnerability. Many of the times men don't feel comfortable being vulnerable, and learning how to become vulnerable and making sure that you are able to let your feelings show is one of the topics, and also the issues of what we need from our spouses or what we would like from our spouses, whether it's being valued or sexual issues or whatever it might be. Those kind of issues need to be on the table and are spoken about, and we can do it, I guess, in a situation where it's a men's situation where we can really let our hair.
It's a safe environment.
And that's
Correct.
what I was going to say. I bet it feels safe in there.
Yes.
And because this is one of those things, what happens at Evergreen stays at Evergreen.
Right.
In those sessions. Okay, so with the women, that means we get off to ourselves too. Angelique, what are the kinds of things that women talk about in the sessions?
Well, if I could be quite candid, when we went the first year in 2014, I was absolutely stunned because the first issue for the women only session was about submission. Submitting to your husband. And I gotta admit, that was such a foreign concept for me. But that's what's in the Bible, and that's what we're supposed to do. And there were several women. We were all looking at each other saying, oh my goodness, And they were saying, if your husband is making a bad decision and he's sending your family in the wrong direction, a lot of times you have to let him fall off that cliff. And then it's the way you come back. And we were all like, really? Really? And then I told Max, I said, I had never been to anything like this before. And, it was really an eye-opener, a learning experience. So since that time, I've tried to retreat, let the husband lead. Because I tend to be a little aggressive.
Don't we all? We are African American women.
That's right.
Right. I'm not by myself. I guess all of us are like, the women decide this. Because initially, when we decided to go to this retreat, I was telling Max, he was like, I don't know. It's during football season. I said, well, I'm just going to jump out there. I paid and said, here we go into this session. And I thought, this is really for couples who are troubled, who are on their way to divorce. When I got there, nothing was further from the truth. These are people who are investing in their marriages, people who've decided, hey, I want this to work. I want this to thrive. We're celebrating each other. And so for us, it's been a no-brainer must-do. It's on our list every year. This is our time to celebrate each other.
And I love the things that are talked about during the session, and we're going to go over some of that list when we come back. But right now, I've got to take the 14th caller at 404-741-0104. And why do I want the 14th caller? Because I've got 2 tickets to an evening under the stars featuring Mint Condition, Johnny Gill, and Zap. Now, this is going to be Saturday, August the 13th at Wolf Creek Amphitheater. So we've got the 9th through the 11th. Well, that's in September. Darn it. I wish we could have had the 2 together. Anyway, this is August the 13th. Again, Mint Condition, Johnny Gill, Zap, Saturday, August 13th at Wolf Creek Amphitheater. Give me a call, 404-741-0104. You're listening to KISS. Okay.